Welcome back, everyone. Christian Shreve, bestboxingbets.com. I'm also the author of Money Boxing, along with other books. You know, there's a concept that we deal with a lot here, and I have some wonderful people who are kind enough to follow me, and they seem to have an emphasis on wanting the truth, and they want justice, and they seem to perceive a barrier sometimes, if not a barrier, that certainly is separation between what is practiced as law or procedure and how things really are. You know, the medieval Latin had a word for this, and it literally translates to from the fact. It's called defacto. And every boxing fan should know the word defacto, just like they know the word jab, because what it means is just that. It means this is the way it really is. This is the fact. It may not be procedural. It may not be law, but it's the way it really is. It's the way it's really enforced. It's the way it really happens. And we are in a situation where so many fight fans are so educated and are so smart and are so sharp that they don't see a reason, if they're going to lay down their money to participate in a training program or to get a pay-per-view fight, or they're going to make some money off the fights in another way. They see no reason why they shouldn't have justice. And they can see between the lines. They know which way the wind is blowing. They can hear how the birdies are chirping. Any other simile or metaphor that you have would probably fit fine here. But one of the major purposes that I have is in the purpose, the pursuit, the explanation, and in the honoring of what is de facto. It's what is a fact. You know, for point of illustration, I look back over heavyweight history and I say, James J. Jeffries was the heavyweight champ over maybe 100 years ago, but he refused to face Jack Johnson in the ring before he'd retired. He was instantly no longer the heavyweight champion. Jack Johnson was instantly the de facto heavyweight champion of the world. He refused to face someone he'd beaten previously, but was the logical contender. He refused to face Sam Langford. Sam Langford became the de facto heavyweight champion of the world. I looked in the mid-'80s. Larry Holmes looked at Pinklin Thomas. Many of you don't know who he is, you should. And said, this is a guy who reminds me of who I was when I was 30. I'm getting ready to retire. I don't want to fight this guy. I'm not going to do it. And he was no longer the heavyweight champion of the world. Pinklin Thomas was the de facto heavyweight champion of the world. This goes on in the sport. You know, you'll see a bad decision and you'll say, well, it's a Mexican fighter with a high-power promoter in Texas. This is the way it is. He's not going to lose a decision. That's the way it is. And some people would say, well, in a world in a bubble, that's not the way it should. No experienced boxing fan is going to argue with you for 1 second. We all feel exactly the same way. The writers feel the same way. The fighters feel the same way. But it's a business. And they say, you know, at the root of all business is politics. At the politics of all business is money. And however you want to shake it, the fact, the de facto way that things really are is the way that we continue to perceive them. And that's why this game carries so much interest, because it has something that's so fundamental, a primordial urge to protect and defend and fight. Then it has sport and the glamour aspects of it. And that's why people can watch that and they can see injustice with justice, and all this is mixed up as what is in fact this game. And that's why you can get consecutive best pictures like $1 Million Baby and Cinderella Man, and you can get this in the sport because at the base level of all sports is considered fighting. If prostitution is considered the world's oldest profession, then fighting is the world's oldest sport. And so when you hear me say this is the way it is, or de facto, or you start coming up with a use for it, when I hear it from you, when I read it in your emails, I know what you're talking about. You're saying, this is the way it really is. It may not be recognized. You know it, and I know it. And I just want to say how appreciative I am to have people who are paying attention to anything that I do that can read between the lines. Thank you so much, Christian Shreve, bestboxingbets.com. I'm Christian Shreve, and I'm here to tell you about why I think you should own my new book, Money Boxing, which is on sale now. Money Boxing has something for everyone, whether or not you know anything about boxing. You're about to receive a backstage pass into a world of glamour, corruption, and intrigue. And you're going to learn about the system, which is the only thing the casinos have had to fear in a long time. You can own Money Boxing by clicking on the link below now. I think you'll like it.